There was a time when every corner of football was buzzing about a 15-year-old kid. He was strong, clinical, and fearless for his age. So good that Real Madrid bought him before anyone else could. And Brazil are pinning their hopes on him being the country's main striker for years to come. That kid was Endrick. Yet today, all he gets is warming the bench and almost never coming off it. Half the season is gone, and with the World Cup looming, what actually is going on with Endrick? Before all the noise, before the pressure, before Real Madrid, Endrick was just a kid who kept breaking every rule of development football. At 15 years old, he wasn't your typical promising talent. He was actually destroying men twice his age in the Brazilian league. Fans weren't calling him a wonder kid, they were actually calling him the next Pelé. And it wasn't hype for the sake of it. Endrick backed it with moments that didn't make sense. Despite standing at just 5'8", he played like a heavyweight. The power, the shot, the explosiveness, the same fearless spirit Brazil once saw in their greatest number 9. The numbers told the same story. At 16, he became the youngest goalscorer in Palmeiras history, breaking a record that stood for 106 years. He scored this solo goal similar to that of the iconic Sir Bobby Charlton.
Heart of hearts, a long time they've been seen now.
He even had the audacity to attempt this bicycle kick.
Pedalou, jogou lá no meio, recebeu o Endrick, vai fazer golaço no travessão!
He was the kid bullying professionals like he had outgrown youth football. Naturally, clubs all over Europe were circling. Barcelona wanted him, PSG wanted him. Chelsea made calls that actually almost got him signed. But it was Real Madrid who showed Endrick they needed him, committing an extraordinary amount in 2022 for someone who isn't of the age to vote. Madrid agreed to only bring him to Spain in 2024, allowing the youngster to continue his development at Palmeiras. And developed he did. He was scoring goals for fun, and by the end of the season, Endrick achieved his first trophy for Palmeiras. They won the league with 3 games in hand, and was voted the most promising player in Brazil's Serie A. He was also named one of the best talents born in 2006 worldwide. This doesn't sound like the story of a fake wonder kid, and by no means was his first season at Madrid a failed one. When Endrick arrived at Real Madrid in the summer of 2024, the hype was as expected. Huge.
A lot of excitement over the 18-year-old Brazilian international.
60,000 fans gathered at the Bernabeu to welcome the player, and his first season saw him make 37 first-team appearances across all competitions, more than what Vinicius Jr. and Rodrygo made in their individual debut season. While they both played more minutes, Endrick had the better impact, scoring 7 goals. The same number Rodrygo scored in his first season, and 3 more than Vinicius managed. Beyond the goals, you could see flashes of why Real Madrid paid 60 million euros for him. The power, the aggression, the confidence to shoot without overthinking it. He wasn't supposed to be ready, but he was. Inside the club, the consensus was simple. He's ahead of schedule. Endrick adapted faster than expected, looked more mature than people gave him credit for, and showed enough promise that fans started wondering, if this is year 1, what is year 2 going to look like? But that's where the story flips, because everything that made his debut season so encouraging is also what makes the next chapter of his career so confusing. How did Endrick go from 37 matches last season to starting absolutely none this year? Talent was never the question in the case of Endrick, it's everything else around him. The Brazilian walked into a team coached by Carlo Ancelotti, a man who doesn't hand minutes to young players unless they are undeniable. And when asked about playing young prospects, including Arda Güler, Ancelotti's response became a headline. Prospects of their age at Real Madrid must warm the bench until they become undisputed starters. That was it. He didn't say until they play well, and not until they impress, until they become undisputed starters. In other words, youngsters don't get eased into Madrid easily. You wait, you sit, you learn, and when your time comes, you explode. It happened with Vini, Rodrigo, even Federico Valverde, and Endrick walked straight into that same philosophy. At 18, that sounds about right, that his time hasn't arrived. But to make that many appearances and score in crucial games, it's fair to say Endrick's first season exceeded his own expectations. When Ancelotti left, everyone thought the doors would finally open for the Brazilian. In came a new coach, a new system with fresh opportunities. At least that was supposed to happen. Until something else arrived first. Something that changed everything. And it hit Endrick at the worst possible moment. Xabi Alonso's appointment was supposedly perfect for him, but he picked up 2 injuries that significantly impacted his chances of more game time. It all began in May 2025. In Real Madrid's penultimate league match of the season, Endrick felt a sharp pull in his hamstring. A small injury on paper, but a catastrophic one for timing, because that single moment took away everything he needed to accelerate his career. Instead of traveling to the Club World Cup in the US, he stayed behind in Spain, rehabbing his injury, grinding through 3 training sessions a day with a personal trainer he had used when he was at Palmeiras, watching his teammates fly to the tournament where he should have been showcasing himself. But while he watched, he also witnessed the rise of the academy striker, Gonzalo Garcia, who seized his opportunity and shined during the tournament. The 21-year-old ended up winning the Golden Boot, scoring 4 goals in 6 games, a headline-grabbing breakout on the global stage. It could have been Endrick taking his chances, as Kylian Mbappe was absent during the group games due to illness. It wasn't Endrick's fault, but it immediately reshuffled the hierarchy. Now, Endrick was desperate to recover and get close to the team again, so he traveled to the US to prepare for pre-season. But football doesn't follow plans. In his first full training session, Endrick pushed himself too hard and suffered the recurrence of the same hamstring injury, the nightmare every fast athlete fears. Although there were no medical updates from the club, it was another delay for Endrick, and from that moment, his story wasn't about talent, it was about survival. Endrick's injury kept him out until September, and the youngster who should be fighting for his role now has another fight to contend with to stay fit. By the time he recovered, Madrid were already deep into the season. The system was settled, the frontline was flowing, the rotations were fixed, and Endrick, he was starting from zero again. The cruel thing about football at the highest level is this: you don't choose when your moment comes, but the world keeps moving when you miss it. Endrick missed his moment twice, and the consequence today is way bigger than anybody expected. Today, Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid plays a specific kind of football, structured, positionally disciplined, and built on 3 key pillars. Wide forwards who can hold width, a Roman creator who drops between the lines, a striker who links play, not just finishes. Endrick right now, he's none of those. He's a striker who thrives on straight lines, explosive movements, counters, broken play goals, moments where the match loses shape and he becomes the sharpest blade on the pitch. But Alonso's structure rarely breaks shape. It's tactical chess, not street football. Endrick's biggest strength doesn't resonate with the current system. But let's be clear, it's not that he can't do it. Xabi hasn't had the time or the games to test him yet. Real Madrid have said the same thing publicly. Endrick is part of our long-term plan. But without the minutes, the Brazilian's chances of appearing at the 2026 World Cup is close to 0. The kid touted to be the new number 9 since the days of Ronaldo now has the hardest decision to make in his life. Does he continue to stay and hope for minutes? Because Madrid's long-term plan is Endrick's short-term dilemma. He's desperate to be on the plane to the US with the Brazilian squad, or make a loan move to a club where he can be a starter, because Endrick can't go to the World Cup with no match fitness and no confidence. Endrick's story was never supposed to look like this, but it also needs to be said. Nothing is wrong with Endrick. He's simply stuck inside a moment that isn't letting him move. He's at a club where every position is owned by world-class stars. A manager implementing a system he still needs time to understand. That pressure doesn't break everyone, but it freezes some. And right now, Endrick is frozen in place. Not because he lacks talent, but because talent means nothing without opportunity. There are many clubs who could benefit from his ability, but which club is the right fit for him? Let us know in the comments where he should go. Endrick is only 19 and he's far from wasted talent. The pressure on youngsters these days is immense, but he has the tools to turn his career around and restart. Remember, he's not even an adult yet. The world hasn't seen the real Endrick. But when he finds the right fit and the right moment, we could still be watching the beginning of something special, or even a generational talent for years to come. He doesn't want to fall in the same mold as these two players on your screen right now though. Check out these videos to see how these football prodigies never turn their careers around. See you there.